Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I am sitting inside of my car waiting for my daughter to get done with some lacrosse training, and I have like 30 minutes to kill. I wanted to do these because I haven't been able to do these in a minute. Hey, Asian truck back here, Asian restaurant. Good place to be. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I am talking a little bit about tipping culture today in the wedding world. I recently joined Wedding Pro, which is Wedding Wire and The Knot, and they sent me out some blog posts to kind of read and look at, and I just kind of was skimming through it, and I want to make a series of videos about it. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a series of videos, and I just whatever they're talking about, and I want to give my input on it. I've been in this game for 15, 16 years now, and there's a lot of things that make sense, and there's a lot of things that don't make sense. Sometimes I feel like these blogs just mess with people and mess with couples who are trying to go out. Let's dive into it right now. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Jeremy with Jeremy Lou Photography. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Video helps you anyway, give it a thumbs up. And then click that bell for notifications. It'll tell you every time I come on. Guys, we are talking about tipping culture today. And this is a blog directly from Wedding Wire itself. And I believe it starts off with somebody asking a question. Now, this was in May of 2021. I don't know if things have changed too much since then. I don't feel like it has because it hasn't changed in my world. But let's read this and let's see what people are saying. Hello, brides and grooms of Wedding Wire. My wedding is this weekend and I'm trying to iron out all those final details, which leads me to the question, do you tip a wedding photographer? We paid a large sum of money to the photographer package and I don't know what the etiquette is here. We've planned tips for servers, bartenders, delivery people, etc. on our wedding day, but I'm not sure what to do with our photographer. I don't know the rules here. Basically, I want to know, do you tip your wedding photographer and how much? And I did comment on this a little bit ago when I first found this. I found this a couple weeks ago. And I want to give you guys my input. So you can read their comments on their input. This is Wedding Wire, just kind of look at tipping etiquette here. But I want to give you guys, from a wedding photographer, my input and then what really happens. First off, no, you do not need to tip your wedding photographer. I price my packages at a price that includes my gratuities, that includes my final rate, right? It doesn't include gratuities. There's not a service charge in there, but I'm charging what I'm charging, so I know what I'm making, and that's what I want to do. I'm not charging my couples in a way hoping that they're going to tip me so I can make it over. Like a food server, they get an hourly rate, but they don't make any money on the food itself. If they were to make a commission on the food itself, then you wouldn't have to tip them, right? It would be a whole thing. So I'm making my commission, my full rate on everything that I'm doing. I know what I'm paying my assistant. I know what I'm paying my second shooter, the album process, the prints. I know what I'm paying everybody, and I do not require a tip. And I've built my pricing, as every wedding photographer should, based off of what I am going to be making on that day. I am not expecting a tip. I do not rely on a gratuity or a tip in order to make my money, because if I did that, that would be a dangerous game to play. Hey, I'm going to charge you $1,000. Hope that you're going to tip me $2,000 or $500 or whatever so that I can make rent. I am charging my $6,000, $7,000 rate, and that's built in. I don't expect a tip from my couples ever. Do I get tipped? Of course, but it's a little bit different. Not every couple tips, and that's totally fine. I don't expect it. Sometimes when there's a wedding coordinator, they will have, let's say, 200 or 300 in a little envelope that every single vendor will get. Your florist will get it, your DJ will get it, and the coordinator's job is to hand those out to all people, and it might be the same amount per person. At no point do I expect my $6,000 wedding client to tip me a percentage of my pricing, meaning I don't think I expect them to tip me 20% of $6,000. Yes, that would be awesome. I would love it, but also no. I would also feel a little bit guilty if they're giving me $1,200 for it. As a business owner, you need to be charging what you're charging. As a bride, if you're watching this, you do not have to tip your wedding photographer at all. And if you want to, if you feel like you have to, if you feel pressure, if you come from tipping culture, if you come from, I'm a food server and I tip everybody and that's what I want to do, honestly, $200-300 in a little envelope with a thank you note goes a long way. Don't worry about what your final cost is. Just give them a little something. And sometimes this covers their assistant. Sometimes this covers part of their second shooter. And then sometimes it just covers their meals and snacks for a couple days. You know, like when I travel and I do destination wedding photography, where I get tipped the most, I'm paying for extra food for my family or for my team. We're going out to a little bit of a nice dinner, something like that, where I'm not expecting the bride and groom to pay for it, of course, but I want to treat my people for going out and hanging out with me and creating some morale. Should you tip? Cool. Should you not? Cool. It's totally up to you, but you do not have to. Let's just read a couple of these comments here. I have been told that if they own their own business, you do not need to tip them. Of course, you can always give them extra, but it's not needed. I plan on waiting until the big day to see if they go above and beyond, and then sending them a check in the mail if they exceed my expectations. That brings up another good point. I own my own business, but I'm also the photographer for my own business, meaning that I will be paying myself and paying my team. If I ran a business and let's say that there's an associate photographer, if you will, or some sort of other photographer that I'm sending, right? So Jeremy Lou Photography, I have 3 weddings, I'm sending a photographer. That lady was weird. She was just staring at me the whole time. If there was a photographer that I'm sending and my couple wanted to tip them because I'm paying them a percentage of whatever, I'm not paying them the full rate. I don't run my business that way. That's what an associate photographer does. Then yes, you can tip them. You should tip them because they're not making the full thing. They're working just as hard. But I promise you, if it was my associate photographer, they're getting paid very well to be there, right? I know the bridal mags will tell you that they own their own business, so you don't need to tip them. But let's tip the word gratuity. Service talk all the time. Word gratuity and tip. Tip means to imply prompt service. I'm come from tips to imply prompt service. You tip them at the beginning. You walk up and you say, "Hey, thanks for taking care of us tonight." Boom, they're on you. They're going to give you money. Gratuity is a thank you, right? But let's talk about tipping culture. Tipping culture. If you don't tip, you're a jerk. Everywhere wants a tip. Everybody has to have a tip. The words tips and gratuity, game over. This means nothing now to me. This means nothing because now we're just tipping the tip, right? Let's talk about let's get one more. I'm not tipping my photographer at my reception. I need to see the final product before I do that. This Virginia person, I just don't like the way they commented it. It just felt like it wasn't a way that this is just a weird meaning thing. I am not tipping my photographer at the reception. Don't tip at the reception, tip after. Tip when you pay the invoice, tip whenever. I need to see the final product before I do that. You are hiring a photographer to shoot your wedding. The end game, the final product is not when you're going to decide if you like that photographer or not. You need to decide if you like the photographer when you book them, looking at their work, looking at all their stuff. At the wedding, they're going to kill it for you if you chose the right photographer. They're just, what are they? If they don't like the work, they're going to be paid for the work, but you're not tipping them. Well, you have crappy photography now. What does this comment have anything to do? It's just a mean, weird comment to say. Virginia, I'm sorry. Hopefully you had a great wedding, but like I need to see the final project before I do that. My only tip to Virginia is, hey, make sure that you hire the right photographer for you. Don't let the wedding day be that day that you've decided that. Ooh, I think I actually commented on that and I went a little hard on this. You guys see that comment? You see that comment? I'm right here. Tip all vendors. The photographer is a crucial part of your wedding. Your wedding is a memory creator. Always tip 20%. Joanne, I love you. I want to shoot your wedding. Thank you for saying that. But I do not agree. You don't always have to tip 20% because some of our rates are really, really high. Tipping 20% on top of maybe paying, like you paid 50, 60,000 for a wedding, an extra $10,000 of just tips is not necessary. But thank you for thinking of it. I really appreciate you. You will make the vendors' lives very happy. Yes, you should tip them. Yes, you tip them. I'm giving $100 each of our photographers. That's great as well, Melanie. Cool. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on these. I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you next time. Bye. Oh God, how do I stop the recording? I hit hide recording. I hit all my stuff. Boom.